Hey, out there, you know who it is. It's Cruz of Olympian Multimedia. And here today, we're going to be presenting you a special segment entitled Transition of the Arts. I know you guys are wondering, like, what's going on with that transition of the arts? Where's the correlation there? I don't see it. Well, don't worry. We're about to go really in depth on it. We're going to talk about it, break things down for you guys. I hope we're going to be dropping a lot of gems, a lot of jewels here. Sit back and enjoy because we have a special guest with me. As you can see, we're in our virtual studio today. My special guest, you've seen him on the show before. I'm going to be honest with you. This guy really doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to give it to him anyway. This guy wears many hats as an entrepreneur. He's an author. He's an illustrator. He's a tutor, teacher. This guy be all over the place. This is Mr. Worldwide right here. You know, I got to do my quick little pitch right here. You know, he's the proud author right here. I don't know if you guys can see all that, but he's carefree like me. He got his book series out. Talk about this stuff later, but you know, I had to put the plug in. I had to put the plug in real quick. So, everybody, please welcome Mr. Rashad Davis. Mr. Davis, what's going on with you?
Not much, man. That is a hell of an introduction, but I'll take it, and I appreciate you, and I'm excited to be back chatting with you. It's always a good time.
Like I said, man, I had to do it big because, you know, we talk plenty of times, and I'm always advocating the same point. I'm trying to catch up to you. You know, I'm trying to make myself like the octopus with a bunch of arms all over the place because you've really been doing your thing.
Thank
I
you.
think the best thing that I admire about you is the fact that how involved you are with the community. I know you
Mm,
get back a lot through tutoring. You're doing teaching. You're teaching young ones how to get into like animation, illustrations, how to go about putting their books together. You're just a
mhm.
positive influence within the community, and we
Thank
definitely
you.
need more of that. So I definitely
Thank you.
appreciate that about you, Mr. Davis. I appreciate you being on the show with me today. Uh,
Absolutely.
the title for it again is Transition of the Arts. Felt like you were perfect for this segment.
Mm,
Because for you guys out there, for your viewers out there, what we're going to be breaking down today is how we can transition one form of artistry into another and how we can create the balance between the two. Specifically, how we can make our artistry into a business. Find ways to elevate that, elevate your brand through your art. And this guy right here is an epitome of artistry. So astonished just by the fact I'm an author too, but I ain't on your level with. I mean, I couldn't. I mean, I hope you guys can really see that. I mean, this. I'm gonna just let you viewers know. He doesn't just write it. I mean, he's illustrating the book. I mean, how fantastic is that? And I mean, the artwork is stellar. I mean, kudos to you. I'm, I might get to that level. It's probably not going to happen, but you
you're
know,
there.
anything can happen. You know what I mean? I might have to take your course, Rashad. You
Listen,
might have
that's
to hook
a
me
bad
up.
idea.
You might have to hook me up with a class, fit it in the schedule.
Listen, I got you. I got you.
I appreciate it. So let's get into it. Mr. Davis, I would like you to explain to the viewers drawing illustrations became the catalyst for you to start developing children's books.
Mm. Ooh. So it's kind of funny because I didn't. And again, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be back. But initially I didn't want to pursue art. I was terrified. I was terrified of
Wow.
doing art. So after high school, when I graduated, I was going through a lot of stuff personally. That whole process, really affected me. In addition to my fears of trying to pursue the arts as a career in college and being hungry. And I like to eat. So I was like, there's no way I'm into a career that I will be hungry in, right? So everybody else had my everybody else was like, you got this, like you're really good, you should pursue it. And I just didn't do it. I let fear win out. It wasn't really until my senior year where a friend of mine, she suggested me to be an artist or to debut my artwork at the Africana Center at my college, Tufts University. It got selected. I ended up becoming like the first Black American or first African American to host a gallery in that space. And so when the show was over, I had a teacher reach out to me who was there and looked at the work, and she said, "Hey, could you illustrate my book cover?" I said, "Sure." The book ended up, the cover ended up getting selected out of hundreds, and I ended up getting paid like $500 for that one picture. I was like, "Whoa, okay, right." Right, off of one picture. And so I was like, okay, so clearly there's money to be had in art. And from there, I just started manifesting work. Well, I should say I put myself out there and I manifested work through that. I ended up
Right.
illustrating my first children's book. It went on to get it was a #1 Amazon bestseller, and then it went on to win a Kirkus star. So I was like, whoa, okay, clearly I'm in the right arena.
Yeah.
And at the time when I graduated college, I was just trying to find work because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what my path. And so I ended up working at a photography studio, and I ended up working, it was with Life Touch. And I was really good working with kids. Like, kids really gravitated towards me. I had a great time. Parents requested me by name. They were like, we want to work with him because he knows how to make my kid laugh. And I wasn't piecing it all together. But when I left that job and after I went through a traumatic incident, I was like, okay, what am I going to do with my life? And I realized in that moment, I was really good at two things. I was like, I'm really good at drawing pictures and I work well with kids. Like, why don't I turn that into something? Like, why don't I turn that into a career? And I bridge the gap between my art skills and my people skills because I'm really good at connecting with people and I'm specifically good at connecting with kids. So I was like, okay, well, like let's give it a shot and see how this goes. And here I am, what is it now, 7 years later, and it's now my full-time gig. This is what I do exclusively, and I haven't had to. I'm really blessed and really happy and really fortunate that I haven't had to work for somebody in the past like 4 years, 4 or 5 years, which is crazy to me because I didn't think that this would be possible, but I've just been doing it on my own and living life and loving it. So yeah, that's how I did it. A very quick rundown, like a very quick summary. That's how I did it.
Also, I mean, let me go ahead and let me real quick right here. Sorry for that.
That's good.
Let me just give you your applause right here.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
About it is the fact that you played on your strengths. Notice that you have this great ability to interact with people. Clearly, the skills was there. Fortunate enough that you got over your fears. You know what I mean? And you're able to put yourself out there. You got these great books out. So that's awesome that you was able to overcome that. But it's just beautiful that you was able to like hone in what you were good at
Thank
and come in them doubts. Because I think that's the biggest thing with people is that they have talent, but the biggest hurdle is themselves
you.
because they're
Yes.
so fearful about what people are going to say about them, what the people are going to think about them, this, that, and the third. That's something that you should just put on the back burner.
Yep.
You really got a passion for something, and you got an idea in play. Not everything is going to be how do you put it? Going to go swimmingly all the
Right.
time. There's going to be some problems, some bumps of road along the way. At the same time, separates you from the pack is how you're able to overcome the roadblocks, the
Yes.
obstacles. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So definitely by your personality, you hit the right lane right there. And especially with your books. I mean, me and you were just talking about it. They're meant for like the younger audience, but I just feel like,
Yes.
people who are older can enjoy it as well. And then again, it's not just by the story that you have in there, because it does have like a thing to it. It does have like a message in the book, but just like artist myself. So I just appreciate to the art and the time and effort that you put in your art and your illustrations.
Mm,
So much to pull away from what you're doing,
thank
and
you.
it's a beautiful thing.
Thank
I, I know for myself, a lot of you viewers out there know that the music, I've been in music for a long time. I'm actually going to be coming out of retirement, and I'm actually going to be, doing some recording myself. So look out for that. I'm not going to say too much because I might just X the project because I might be on that finger thing. I don't know. You know what I mean? But as of right now, it's in the works. You know what I mean? But the thing is, you guys know I'm a poet as well. A lot of my published work deals with poetry and short stories. So a lot of people ask, was that easy for me to make that transition to start doing poetry, being that I used to write songs?
you.
And the question is, I mean, the answer to that is, of course, yes. Because a lot of times songs are written in a poetic way. The structure of it is pretty much the same, maybe
Mm,
not in stanza form, but you're still rhyming, you're still putting a theme together, a concept together, and so forth and so on. And then from there, you could develop it a little bit more as far as like message you want to give out, what's your purpose behind your writing, so forth and so on. So the similarities are definitely there.
mm,
Um, do you see the similarities within yourself, Rashad,
mm,
when it comes to like drawing illustrations
mhm,
versus when you were writing the book? Is there
mm.
any correlation there?
Yeah, no, I think both drawing and writing require, or illustrating, I should say, illustrating and writing require strong storytelling skills. Oh, excuse me. I was working with kids again today. The kids wore me out. Um, power to you. Um, but yeah, no, I think both illustrating and writing require strong storytelling skills. And when I'm illustrating, I'm thinking about what is it that I'm trying to say, what is it that I want my audience to get out of this image. What is it that I want people to feel as they look at this image? And when I'm writing, I'm thinking largely the same thing. What is it that I'm trying to make my audience hone in on? What am I trying to get them to think about? What do I want them to feel? So it's all storytelling, and I think
Mhm.
all art is really us just trying to tell a story, whether or not that story is literal or it's more abstract, like abstract art or conceptual pieces. It's all storytelling, and I think that's the beauty of being a creative too, is that we're telling our own personal narratives. And it's interesting, talking about the similarities, because I drew the main so for instance, I drew the main character for my graphic novel, and I knew that he was based on me, but I didn't think he looked like me. But every time I show new students, they're like, he looks like you, and I was like, like,
Hey.
so much of my personal narrative makes it in to my work, whether that's my children's
Mhm.
books or my graphic novels. It finds its way in there. And I think for me, especially, it's a way of healing old things that I just never dealt with in particular. So yeah, I think both writing and illustrating or drawing are ways of us working out pieces of us that we can't see, but we know are there and just don't have the language to talk about it.
I hit the nail on the coffin. I know getting to know each other because guys, we happened to met at a book festival, the
Yeah.
Collinswood Book Festival, and reading your books. What we had did when I interviewed you on a
Hmm.
previous video, and I was just reading through the books and whatnot, and just that small interaction that we had, I could see you in the book, even though I didn't know
Mm.
you in depth.
Hmm.
And then once we did the interview, it's like everything started coming to life a lot more
Yes.
because it's like I see pieces of you within your book, even though there's different names and different characters in the book. But I see a lot of you permeating through that. So that's great
Mm.
that you took from experience, life experience, and you was
Oh
able
yeah.
to incorporate that in your book. I know I'm working on my new book now. I'm almost done. And
Congrats.
I just kind of gave a forewarning to people because, people's asking me, like, yo, what's the next project? How's the book coming along and whatnot? it scared some people with this book. Uh,
Mm,
I definitely went kind of dark on this
mm,
book. I wasn't meant. I'm not really meant to like depress nobody or anything like that. I hope
yeah.
people can really expand their horizons and get an
Hmm.
understanding of what I was trying to do with this book. This book is definitely like a concept book, but
Mm,
I really made myself vulnerable in this book because I put a lot of me in it, like a
hmm.
lot of things I've been thinking about, the personal experiences. Really, I leave certain things out. I don't want to put nobody on blast or
Sure.
any kind of misinterpretations or anything like that. But it's a lot of me in there as far as like people know what goes through my head. It's a lot of things
Mm,
that go on my head on a given day.
hmm.
So I hope when somebody reads it, they can something in there can resonate with them to being like, wow, somebody else goes through this too.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the purpose behind that. So I really feel where you're coming from with that, and I definitely feel it in your body of work, Rashad, is how
Mm,
you put a lot of you, the book, and that's why I think so many people love your books
thank
is
you.
because you found a way to tap in and present it in a way where they can resonate with it, like they
Yes.
can apply it to their life. But I'm thinking that was your goal, right? For like
Oh,
people to like really like take something from it and have it resonate with them.
absolutely, absolutely. That was definitely the goal. In my work, I really want to stress honesty, and I want to stress artistic honesty. But I also find that being authentic and being honest about who I am gives people permission to do the same. When I see somebody shining and I see somebody in their full light, I'm like, wow, I can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
I have permission to be my fullest self without fear because it might not be for everybody, but ultimately it's for me to be my authentic
Mm-hmm.
self. But also in the process, I'm gonna lift somebody else up. So my next biggest projects have to deal with queer identity, so LGBTQ identity, because it's something that I've
Awesome.
never yeah, it's something that I've just never addressed directly in my work, even though, I'm not ashamed of who I am or how
Mm-hmm.
I identify. It's just never shown up in my work. And I think back to when I was young and I didn't see queer people. Well, I saw queer people, but they never looked like me. And so,
Right.
for a long time when I was little, I thought I was like the only black gay person who ever existed. I was the only one because I
Yeah.
didn't have any. Yeah, right, right. Silly now,
Uh,
but when you're 5, 6, 7, 8, and you're feeling all these things that are different from everybody
yeah.
else, it's very lonely feeling. And so I think about all of those other kids now who are growing up with representation, but also might want to find themselves in a book and might want to secretly
Yeah.
take it out of the library because they haven't told their parents yet and explore themselves through my work. So that's largely what
Mm-hmm.
I like to do. And I think a big part of being an artist is to tell the truth and to tell the truth as boldly as you possibly can.
I think that's beautiful.
Thank
Also, too, I think that would be great for like my sister. I know some people out there, some of the viewers. I did touch base with this a little bit, but I actually lost in touch with my sister. We haven't
mm,
been in touch with each other for 20 years.
oh wow.
And we happened to, I don't want to go all in depth with it, but
Yeah,
she
yeah.
actually found me last year. Um, it was a lot of communication, a lot of just family mess. I know you probably can, you know, understand. Everybody
Yeah.
got like family drama and
Oh
just
yeah.
some unnecessary nonsense be happening and whatnot. So that's what we were caught up with. And like part of the reason why there was this disconnect as far as like me getting back in touch with my sister is that people were really pumping her head up to believe that I wouldn't accept her because she's gay.
Mm, mm,
And I'm
mm,
like, this is so far off the reservoir here, the reservation as it were,
mm,
because I haven't seen my sister in 20 years. You know
right.
what I mean? Like this is nonsense and ludicrous for somebody to even think that. And being that she identifies as that, I mean it's as natural as the air you breathe. That's who she is.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to accept her. This is my sister. This is my blood. Being that she's in the military, it's still kind of like that kind of little bit of that weirdness that go along with it. It's not too
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
but you know how certain people are just still, what's the word I'm looking for? Just help me out.
Is she hiding a little bit?
Ignorant. I
Oh,
guess the best word I'm looking for is ignorant. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I
There's a
know
lot of
she's always discussed, and I know she was discussing about, like, because she's an avid reader too, and
yeah.
that it's just not, there's starting to be more mediums and air through media as far as like bringing these type of things to light,
Yep.
but it's just not enough. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Yeah.
being that you're thinking about, or you're going to be putting together a book, that would be something great for her that she can definitely look into and appreciate. You know what I mean? Because we
Absolutely.
need more of it. Because, you know, even though we advance over the years and there's been a lot more like acceptance and embracing different cultures, different communities, still that, I hate to say it, it's just that stain of ignorance that's out there.
There's
And
there's a lot
it
of
just need to get over it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I definitely give you kudos that you putting that out there. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like you're going to put together a project like that, put a book out there like that. I know tons of people are going to definitely appreciate that.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean,
It's
let me know when the book come out. You know, drop a
absolutely.
memo to me. You know, postcard, email, whatever it is. You know, let me know.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as it is available, I got you. Because it's one of those things where it's actually terrifying to do it. Because
Yeah,
my younger
I can
self still
imagine.
remembers being very afraid of the
Yeah,
rejection and but the potential physical violence from people because that's a
yeah,
reality. But it's a good feeling when I can tell my internal younger self that it's safe. I got you, and we just do it. So
yeah.
it's exciting. It's exciting, and I'm excited to create these books and to get them out there and to see the response. Some of it is gonna be ignorant, of course, but
That's
people.
cool.
Right,
Cool.
right.
We ain't worried about them, Mr. Davis. We ain't worried about them.
Exactly.
If they ain't down with the cause, they can keep on going. We ain't got time for all
Right, 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 right. Like
that.
they could kick rocks.
Real quick, this project that you're working on, is it going to be a book series? Is it just like the one book?
So I have three book ideas. So well, one of them is already underway, and I'm working with my literary agent to submit it and get it picked up by a publisher. That's a
Woo!
yeah, yeah. So that's a
Nice, nice.
excuse me for young adults. I don't want to spoil too much of that, but I will say that
Okay.
that it's magic. It's
Uh-huh.
African, it's African American, it's ancient Egypt, it's horror, it's
Oh,
mythology. Like
okay.
it's a lot of stuff happening. So I'm excited about that. And then the other two ideas are two children's books that I'm currently writing the manuscripts to. That I'm really really
Okay.
excited about. Like whenever an idea just hits me, I'm like, oh okay, yeah, this is it.
Yeah, I'm the same here. I don't know. I just want to put this out there real quick. When you make it big, and you know they start putting your books in like TV shows or whatever, or movies or whatever. All I
Yeah,
ask is, can I get a ticket? I mean, when you got the world premiere or whatever, I don't mind sitting in the back of the theater. You know what
me
I mean?
too.
I'll even usher the event, but can I get a ticket? Can I get them in there on the red carpet? Just so I want to see the people, man. That's all I'm saying.
I can't.
Just get a ticket, man. You know what I mean?
Listen,
Me and the missus. I need the kids at home. Just me and the missus. Can I get a, you know what I mean? Can I
I
get up
got
in there?
you, man. I got you.
I man. That's flowers. And I told her the same thing because she's working on an idea and, you know, it might be moving toward that direction where it could be on the big screen and whatnot. So I just told her the same thing. I mean, can I just get a ticket, man? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care if I sit in the back. You know what I mean? Like, I need a little something, man. I want to showcase too. I want to be a little fly too, so I can say, like, look, I know him. I know that guy, Rashad Day. I know him. and he was on the show. Yeah, yeah. No, you don't know him. Get him over there. I know him. Never I go up to him right now and show love to him right now, and I bet you he'll acknowledge me. You know what I mean? But by then you'd be so big, I probably can't even get near you. But anyhow, I just asked for a ticket. I just asked for a ticket, Mr. Davis. That's all I'm asking.
Oh, absolutely.
And I get a
Absolutely.
miss
You're gonna be right there in the orchestra seats. I got you.
Okay. That all right. That's a beautiful thing, you know. And I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm gonna
Oh,
remember this conversation.
listen, I won't forget. I won't forget.
Well, get into this next part right here, Mr. Davis, and have you speak to the viewers of the determining factors moved you now transition your artistry to entrepreneurship. How you was able to take your artistry, take your passion for writing, the passion that you have for people, the love you got for people, the way you interact with people, how you was able to transition that into becoming an entrepreneur and becoming a mentor for people.
Yeah, the story I explained is kind of like the birth of it, the physical birth, but um the the emotional catalyst was at the time when I created Carefree Like Me. Well, let me back up. So a big how and why I got into entrepreneurship is, spirituality. So, for me, it's always interesting because I don't talk a lot about it just because most people don't have a frame of reference in their heads and don't have a framework for it in their heads. For me, it runs in my family that we have certain gifts. So for me, intuition and I get messages through my dreams. And so
Mhm.
for me, right before I decided to take a leap of faith and pursue art as a career, I started having these really vivid dreams. I kept having these dreams of missing planes, trains, buses, all sorts of different forms of public transportation. And so eventually what came to me was like, if I don't take this particular opportunity, I'm going to miss something. And so one night I go to sleep and I have this dream of I was walking through New York City with my mother, and God rest the souls of the people who passed in this, but the Twin Towers exploded, and we had to run into a nearby restaurant. And in the smoke that blew by, I saw the number 1557. And so,
Wow.
you know, typically in dreams, you're not supposed to be able to read. I looked that up. You're not supposed to be able to read. You're not supposed to be able to see letters or numbers. And so that stuck out
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
And I decided to look up the number the next day. Now, mind you, at the time, I was flirting with the idea of going back to college or going back to grad school to pursue art, but I was on the fence. And the number, I looked up that number, and the first link that popped up, it said, this number relates to higher education, learning, and study. And I was like, and it said like,
Wow.
take this opportunity because you might not get it again. And I was like, holy, and
Wow.
and so I decided to apply. I got into the program. It was like the number 3 animation school, and I applied because I was like, clearly, I'm being guided to do this and to pursue this by whatever is, and it feels positive. But while I was away at grad school, I had another kind of, I guess, vision kind of come through, and I was being told you have to go back home to pursue entrepreneurship, and I was like, what the hell? And this is not something that I typically talk about during my interviews because it seems woo woo, but it's real and it happened for me. I put the degree on hold and I said, I guess I'm going back home to pursue entrepreneurship. But little did I know I would also have to be taking care of someone I love dearly who was sick, in order to pursue this career as well. So, the entrepreneurship kind of kicked in when I decided that this is my path, but the reasons why were very spiritual, and I felt like I was being pushed into it as opposed to me just I was actively deciding, but it felt more like a push than it did something rational. And so from there I decided to continue using the arts as a means of communication and communicating my own dreams and visions. And the emotional aspect that got me into it was it was Trayvon Martin who had been killed. Sorry, no, it wasn't Trayvon Martin. It was God. It's a shame I'm forgetting his name. That there's so many people who have been killed by police and I'm forgetting names. But it was a boy.
Talking about you talking about George Floyd?
No, it was a young boy. He
Oh,
was
okay.
he was killed for holding a toy gun or like a wrench or something like that. But
Yeah,
there
I
was
know the name offhand, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah. And I saw a picture of him and it was like half of his face was split and then the other half was Emmett Till and they looked exactly alike. And I broke down in tears and I was like, I was so emotionally impacted by that. And I said, I want to create a book where children of color, all children really, but especially children of color, could feel safe to explore the world without fear of something like this happening, you know? And so that was the emotional part. And then there was the spiritual part. So they both kicked in. And from there, I was like, you know what? I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm just going to jump into it. And I had the cushion of living at home. So I had somebody who could catch me if I fell a little bit. But thankfully, I didn't really fall. I just kind of kept climbing. So yeah, it was multiple things. It was spiritual, it was emotional, and then it was the rational part of being like, this is what I want to do. Let me pursue it and pursue it till the wheels fall off, and not really giving myself another option to fail. So yeah, that's kind of like the long story as to how I got into the entrepreneurship bit.
I mean, that in itself should have that story for a book. Exactly
No,
exactly how you just described it. That should be do a whole novel just on that.
thank
And I think people would kind of journeys kind of like similar in a way a little bit. Much like I wish I could remember my dreams, but I
mm,
don't. You know what I mean? So I
mhm.
must not have nothing up there when I go to sleep. But but what you touched on too was just, and you kind of been saying the same thing recurring throughout this whole discussion. You can go here and just really
Yeah,
putting yourself out there
yeah,
because you have something to offer. Like everybody, we're all imperfect. We all make mistakes. We all have our issues and idiosyncrasies and so forth and so on. But we all have something to offer. We all have a talent. We all have something that we could bring to the table that could definitely be helpful to people to build our communities, our families, that
hmm
we can be a help to each other, you know? And
yeah,
I kind of bring that same mindset when it comes to the business with Olympian, with my books, with my music, different art forms that I put myself into, you
yes,
know, because I know some people just look at me and some people would just ask about like different ideas that I'm working on or whatever, and I give them a little tidbit, something that I'm working on, and you could just see it
hmm
all over their face. It's just like, you doing, man? Like, why are you going in that direction? That just sounds way off. You know what I mean? Like, why do
mm,
you want to do that? Why you want to express yourself in that kind of way? And I'm like, look, I'm at the point right now. You're either gonna be down with me or you're not. There's really no
right,
gray area. It's either going
right,
to be this or that. So, at the end of the day, is your art form. If you are in tune with your identity and who you are as a person and you're proud, why can't you put that in your art form? Why is it
right,
now be myself any other time, but when it comes to
right,
my art, it's like, oh, follow rules, I gotta follow an agenda, this, that, and the third. Ain't nobody trying to hear all that right now. If you
hmm
if you can accept me as a person, then you should clearly accept my art form. Because my art form represents me. So if you ain't got no problem with me, love me and you care for me and you accept me exactly for who I am, then accept my
Yep,
art form because
yep,
it's coming from a good place. And at the end of the
exactly.
day, this is my vision, this is my thoughts, these are my feelings on it, and I'm expressing it through my art form, you know? And
Yep,
then just to take it just a little further, just real quick, also too, like for you viewers out there, you're inspired. That's what we're trying to do with these segments is That's why I got people like Rashad on the shows, people who got like the octopus hands, just they're everywhere. You know what I mean? Because I hope you viewers can be inspired to know it's okay to be a little afraid and be a little fearful of the outcome of the unknown, but don't let that overtake your life and
Yep.
hold you back from really expressing yourself, being who you are, and putting your art form out there. Because you owe it to yourself if you have talent, you have these abilities, you owe it to yourself to put yourself out there and explore it and see what you can make of it. Don't
Hmm.
you agree, Rashad?
Oh, absolutely. And as you were talking, did you see Inside Out the movie? Oh,
I was watching it with the kids, but I fell asleep. I mean,
right.
that's the age.
Listen, I feel it. I'll be falling asleep with a drop of a hat with movies nowadays. But no, so those movies are so profound to me because the movies talk about emotions, and
Mm,
it not only has it's not just a fun ride. It talks about the reason why our emotions exist. And so in the second movie, it talked about anxiety, envy, fear, a little bit of fear and embarrassment or something like that. But it really struck me because the movie showed me that at all times, all pieces of us are working to protect us, right? So, like, our anxiety is trying to stop us from getting hurt. Our fear is trying to stop us from getting hurt. Our embarrassment is trying to stop us from getting hurt. But I think, as an artist and as a particular, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to be the loving parent who says, like, I get what you're trying to do, but we're going to gently place you here so that I can get somewhere up there, and
mm.
that movie really drove it home for me. And so did Shang-Chi. Random, but Shang-Chi
Shang
also. Shang,
Shang-Chi, that's that was like the Marvel movie, right?
yeah, it's the Marvel movie based in China, but
Uh, the guy had like the rings.
yes, he had the rings. Exactly. He
Yeah,
had the
yeah,
ring.
yeah. I really like that one. I mean, I'm not a real
Right.
big fan of like all these Marvel movies, but that definitely was like the better one out of like all the ones they put out.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because, like, I get so many of my life lessons from movies just because I love watching film and I love watching TV and consuming all types of media. But I was watching Shang-Chi, and I don't know if you remember the character played by Aquafina, but she was like,
Yeah,
she was like, I'm really good at all of these things, but I can't find like, I don't want to just do one. And when she was in this mystical world, she was speaking to this one old lady, and she explained that to the old lady. And the old lady said to her in Mandarin, she was like, the arrow that doesn't pick a target will never hit it. And I was like, I don't know what it was about that quote, but it made me realize, like, as I think it's good to be able to tap into different types of things, but I think it's also good to pick a specialty. And so for me, I was doing caricatures, I was doing live commissions, I was doing this, I was doing a million different things. But then when I said, you know what, I'm gonna focus on teaching as my main form of income for right now, my books I'm sorry, commissions as the secondary form of income, and then my books as the last, as more passive income. That's when I started making enough money to be able to live on my own, because I started to focus on maybe three things that I could hone in on and get really good at. And once I did that, I was like, everything started booming for me. So, yeah, it's interesting when you translate those things from art into entrepreneurship, for sure.
definitely. But also too, being honest with yourself as well and
Yeah,
getting an understanding of what will work. So
yeah.
it's not to say that you're not moving in the right direction as far as like you put an idea together, you put an outline, you're putting together an outline of like basic steps on how you're going to go about really manifesting this idea.
Hmm.
But some people tend to get discouraged because they feel like their first plan or their first idea is really going to like take them to where they're pursuing. And
Right,
sometimes it just doesn't work that way
right.
because you're investing so much toward this. actually you should be moving in this direction because that seems to
Exactly.
be more your lane, you
Yes.
know? So it's not to say Rashad Davis couldn't be anything else in this world. You know, he could have went into engineering and became this huge engineer, come more into the arts and be like a great playwright, movie star, or anything like that.
Hmm.
But you were honest enough within yourself, that resolve within yourself to know, like, this is the direction that I should go. And
Yes.
that not only is it good for me to move in this direction, my heart's into it, my passion's into it. You know, I could really make something of it. I just got to be patient. Over time, I keep working. Things are going to get better. It looks a
Yep.
little bleak right now,
Yep.
but it's going to get better. And look at you, you're doing great things. Not where I want to be at either.
Yeah.
You know, just talking with, you know, I mentioned earlier, I just did a video with Sandria Flowers. Shout out to Sandy. But I was explaining to her about how I want to make Olympian my new 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, I still have a 9 to 5, and I'm managing the business. I'm managing my artistry, you know, by doing the books and doing my music and whatnot. But, you know, that's the ultimate goal, is
Yep.
so that I could transition Olympian, kind of pass it off to people's in place where they could take care of the business, and then I can actually do what I want to do, which is just write.
Yes.
You know, I feel like I was born to write.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I'm not saying I'm the greatest writer in the world, but
Yes.
I mean, notebook with me all day. Anybody who knows me knows I keep a notebook with me because I don't really like doing the whole, you know, typing stuff up on the phone and doing all that.
Yeah.
I love having a pen and a pad and actually seeing the words. I'm writing them out. People love getting new clothes and shoes and jewelry and all kinds of other stuff, electronical type stuff or whatever. Me, just give me a fresh notebook and a
Yeah.
fresh pen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To me, I'm giddy, I'm excited. I'm opening the notebook and I already see the words already outlined in the book, in the notebook. I haven't even wrote nothing yet. You know what I mean? So that's where my joy is, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to get to that goal. And the thing about it is, I see myself doing that.
Yes.
It's not an issue about, oh, it happened. It's only is when it's going to happen.
That's
Because
it.
that's what I feel in my heart is going to happen. I'm not working as hard as I am for me to just be like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's a
Exactly.
destination that I'm trying to reach, and I'm going to reach it. You know what I mean? So, being people around people like you, Mr. Davis, Miss Flowers, shout out to Jay Logan, another author that I work out. Shout out to Rebecca Baum. She's a publisher with Blue Jay Press. I like being around like-minded people. You know, I definitely draw inspiration from you guys. Anytime that I feel like I'm about to give up, you know what? I'm just going to go on a hiatus, forget everything. You know, I'll come back to it when I come back to it. I see working on something. Sandria's working on something. I just get a text out of nowhere from Jay, like, hey, I'm working on this, or I need you to get involved with this. I mean, it's at that precise moment, that's what I needed to kind of get over myself.
Yes.
And plus the missus too. Shout out to Lisa. She do it too. Put the boot to the butt a little bit. You know what I mean? And be like, listen, man, get over yourself. It's okay
Right.
to be, you know, in your feelings right now. But tomorrow, you're going to get back on that horse and get this thing rolling. You know what I mean? So I
Yep.
definitely shout out to y'all. Rashad, I appreciate you being on the show today. I had a
Thank you.
blast. For your viewers out there, you really took in a lot. This guy right here is a true inspiration. He definitely epitomizes determination. He epitomizes ambition, like having an ambitious spirit and not letting anything break him. I know, Rashad, you know, you probably have your moments where it's like a little overwhelmed, but thank goodness you don't let that like overtake you, because we want to keep seeing progress. We want to see all these projects come to life. again, when you make it big, don't forget us little people. I want to be there. Whatever big event that you're going, I want to be there. I'll be your number one fan. I have the shirt on. I'll be waving the towel or the flag or whatever I got. I'll be right there rooting for you as I always have. I'm always rooting for you.
Thank
Much
you.
blessings to you. Before we tune on out, do you want to give the viewers a sneak peek, or not sneak peek, but what's on the horizon for you? I mean, is there anything new? What's going on?
Oh, so yeah, so like I said, the graphic novel is,
Mm-hmm.
in the works. I just had to finish writing the whole manuscript. So that was a lot, man. I had to write the whole story, but it was great. So I submitted it to them. So I'm waiting to hear back and from my editor, and I'm sorry, from my agent, and see if there's any edits that she thinks we need to make before we submit. She is a
Uh-huh.
wonderful human being and a wonderful friend, and she's also a brilliant writer, so she helps me a lot to develop my writing. So there's
Awesome.
that. And then the two
Does
children's
does the
books.
book have illustrations? Did you do the illustrations?
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing the
Okay.
illustrations for the graphic novel too. um
Okay. Awesome.
yeah, so that's going to be a hell of a lot of work, but it's going to be good. And then,
Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
But it's
And
worth
then
it. Yeah, definitely.
um I'm also working on the manuscripts for two children's books. It's literally like, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's centered around, the two stories are two different kids, but it's dealing with, you know, being a queer or gay child, knowing that you're different, and moving forward with joy and honesty and authenticity anyway.
Awesome.
Stepping into your realist self and allowing yourself
Like
to be seen.
it's like self empowerment.
Exactly, it's self-empowerment.
Mm,
Um, so
awesome.
so yeah, no, it's exciting for sure. So I'm excited.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Give me the memo when they come out. I'm gonna definitely
Absolutely.
have you back on the show, so it could be all day, Rashad, talking about all these wonderful things that's coming out.
Thank you.
Uh, it's always a pleasure talking with you. I wish we could get on more, but I know you're just doing big things. So let you continue to do them big things, man. And again, I just happy for you, man. I mean,
Thank
me and you were
you.
just talking about it not too long ago. Just being happy for other people. I love seeing the people I'm networking with. They're doing big things, man. Not that
Yes.
I don't want big things for me,
Oh
you know what I
yeah.
mean? But it's just great seeing people just in their element doing what they love doing and they're prospering from it.
Yep.
So much blessings to you, Mr. Davis, man. I hope go beyond the sky. They always say sky's the limit, but you need to go beyond that, man. The
Thank
world
you.
needs to see your talent. You know what I mean? I see you the next superstar, megastar in the making, man. You're getting up there, man. That's all
Thank
I
you.
ask is just don't forget us little people. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's all I'm asking. You know what I
listen,
mean?
listen.
Because, I'm trying to reach out to you. You know what I mean? It might take me a little longer. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get up there with you. You know what I mean? But, here for you. I definitely do, man. And,
Thank
I'm
you.
giddy over here, man. I'm just really happy for you. And I'm happy that you made the time out to be on the episode with me. And it was very encouraging. I hope you viewers were encouraged and inspired. Uh, is there, just before we go off, I mean, is there like a website or somewhere where people can check you out?
Yes, yes. So my website is my business name that you can use to find me on all social media, on all my professional social media. So it's Ramalik, so RAMALIK illustrations.com. So Ramalik illustrations.com. And you can use that to find me on Instagram, on TikTok, and on my website.
Awesome. And so, also, too, going onto your website, is there any way where, like, if they log on, they'll be able to, like, access, like, one of this is from you?
Yes, yes. So firstly,
Okay.
when you go onto my website, there is a pop-up that comes on that says subscribe. So you'll be able to subscribe and get, regular updates from me via my newsletter, which I try to send out monthly. And then on my homepage, there's a button that says hire me. So, potential clients will be able to click on that and see where they can hire me for future work. So yeah, there's always
Awesome.
opportunities to connect and to collaborate. Excuse me, I might not be able to take on a big project like a children's book right now just because of my work schedule, but yeah, no, I definitely, it's definitely possible to connect with me that way and to hire me for shorter term projects like one time commissions or illustrations or things that are much shorter. I could definitely do.
Awesome. So y'all want to hear it first. When the video comes out, do yourself a favor. Check the link down below. It's going to be on there. Check this guy out. Also, when you go to his website, you can also purchase his books. So, I mean, just do yourself a favor and just get the books. I mean, don't make me upset. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying it nicely. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to bully people, man. But I mean, come on, man. Do yourself a favor and get these books and support local authors. I mean, that's where it's at, man. Some of the best work you ever come across, especially from the literary world, is from your local authors. Okay?
Mhm.
So support local authors. Come on. It's really that easy. Just go to the website, click, boom, boom, boom. You get the book in a week or two, bam, and you can sit back and enjoy it. I mean, again, don't make me upset. You know what I mean? Like, just
Don't do
come
it.
on. Don't do it. It's not a good thing. You know what I
You,
mean? But
you know what to
anyway,
do when he's angry.
yo, much blessings to you,
Thank you,
Davis.
man.
Again, I appreciate you being on the show. Uh, keep doing your thing. That's all I can
Thank
say to
you.
that.
Thank you so much, Zeus.
And I am, you know what I mean? Like, just trying to network, show love and spotlight to my peoples because I love seeing them winning. Y'all winning, 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 winning. Keep on doing it. So,
Absolutely.
you know who it is, guys. Do I gotta say it again? It's Zeus. It's on the screen. It's Zeus Cruz of Olympian Multimedia with Mr. Rashad Davis. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you got some enlightenment from it. We're going to check you later.